This is episode 16 of Art Why I Stuck with a Junkie Jazzman. This chapter is called Pepper Returns and subheaded The Horns. The advent of the horns changed both our lives. It changed who we were to each other. It was the real beginning of the partnership we made. It began with an invitation out of nowhere. Fans range from mildly enthusiastic to insane enough to lay down their lives. This guy back east was a serious fan. He was in charge of a, quote, clarinet clinic offered by a university, a summer symposium on clarinet music of every kind. They needed a jazz guy, and this fellow demanded they hire Art Pepper, which Art found odd. Art had pretty much quit clarinet for alto sax when he was about 13 years old. During the 50s, he'd recorded 2 or 3 tunes on it, highly regarded performances, and he'd, quote, doubled on it when he was with Stan Kenton's band. But he was enchantingly humble about what he felt he couldn't do on clarinet, which he considered a really difficult horn. And he had profound admiration for real jazz clarinetists, Artie Shaw, Buddy DeFranco. Art had no instruments. He borrowed a battered clarinet and flew to this symposium. While there, he met another fan, this one representing the Chicago Musical Instrument Company, who carried a line of French-made horns, Buffet. This man, Ken Yo, told Art he should be playing, quote, clinics, little tutorials all over the country at good colleges on good horns, and he, Yo, would arrange it. A few days after Art got back, on a bright summer morning, a UPS truck pulled up at our front door and unloaded a bunch of boxes. We ripped them open. Art's hands were shaking as he unwrapped shining alto and tenor saxophones, a clarinet, a silver flute. He stood in the center of our big, bright room in a chaos of boxes and paper and instruments in their cases. He kept saying he couldn't believe they would trust someone like him, an addict, an ex-con, with such expensive, beautiful horns. In Straight Life, when Art described that fateful moment, he left out, and I didn't remind him of, another element of the scene, equally prophetic. I cut my thigh. We were using kitchen knives to open these big boxes, and in my eagerness, I slipped and deeply gashed my left thigh. Blood poured over everything. Art hated blood. He couldn't bear to look at it. He hadn't yet reached with me the point of dependence where any illness or weakness on my part threatened the entire structure of his life, and he got frightened and reproachful. I saw him cringe at the sight of my blood and at what it implied, that he might have to quit the ceremony of unwrapping and assembling his presents and attend to me. I understood it all in a second. No, it's fine, I'm fine. But I was afraid. I could only stop the bleeding by tying a rag so tightly around my leg my foot turned blue. I'd better take it to a doctor, though. In my shorts and halter top, with a bloody dish towel knotted around my thigh, I grabbed my purse and car keys and took off, leaving Art relieved, professing sympathy while his eyes slid toward those horns. I must have been slightly shocky, because instead of seeking out a nearby emergency room, I only thought to drive all the way to the HMO where I had my medical insurance. I drove from Venice to Hollywood, about 12 miles in stiff freeway traffic. At the two-thirds point, just where a big, fast, half-circle ramp leads from the Santa Monica to the Harbor and Hollywood freeways, where the Staples Center is today, one of my tires blew. I managed to pull out of the flow of traffic and stagger from the car, and after I'd stood there for a little while, dazed and bloody with my thumb out, a man in a faded blue pickup stopped and took me all the way to my HMO's emergency room at Sunset in Vermont. I think this Samaritan even got a tow for me. Later, Art was somewhat ashamed of himself, but not very. He'd been more worried about bruising the high he got from his new horns. I could have insisted Art take me to a doctor, and he would have done it, whining the whole way. But I didn't. The pattern of the rest of our life together was set during the split second when I saw Art, eyes aglow, bedazzled, standing in that pool of gold, those horns, when I made his needs paramount. It was probably the first time I'd done that in my life. I hadn't done it as a mother, had I? Reflected in all that gleamy metal with the fancy scroll work on it, he suddenly seemed important in a way, say, inherited royalty once was to common folk. A trigger was pulled in me, which had been planted by my grandmother, who believed that there was no better thing to be or to serve than an artist. My mother's family was a family of artists. At Art's funeral, his stepmother told me I was the only one of his women who understood him. What I did was appreciate him. My grandmother, my mother, my artist Aunt May, and my violinist uncle, Saul, gave me by example a lifelong course in art appreciation. We were made for each other.